Welcome to the heart and soul of outdoors radio. It's the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show. In our 11th season, we continue to share facts and give advice on the great outdoors, where we never let the lack of facts come between us and a good story. Guys who are dedicated to helping you become a better outdoorsman. Your host, Gary McCoy, who's no stranger to the radio world or the outdoors, with a CMA to his credit for best personality. A well-accomplished outdoorsman who loves the thrill of taking a big buck or putting a bass in the live well. Mike Eccles, born and raised in Louisiana, who's fished and hunted his entire life and continues to chase ducks in the backwaters and pull bass off cypress trees. And the Boss Tournament Trail Director who runs the best team circuit in Louisiana. Steve Graff, raised in the woods and waterways of East Texas, a former Northwestern State two-sport athlete and tournament angler who continues to strive for big bass and winning stringers. And last but not least, Jay Watley, the brains and producer of the show who pushes all the right buttons, a man with unmatched talent who excels in making these guys look good and this show sound great. Now let's jump off the front deck and make the first cast with the boys who know it all, Gary, Steve, Mike, and Jay.
Thank you so much for tuning in, hooking up and tracking down 1130 The Tiger. It's Gary McCoy along with the Ranger Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff.
That's me.
Mo Mudhen, Mike Eccles is here. Jay's in there. Jay shaved his beard, but he's wearing his camo. Are you turkey hunting or what?
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Wild turkey.
Totally. I'm just glad you guys noticed.
Some kick and jig.
That is not your standard camo.
No, it's not.
That's like a cross between Desert Storm and Superior Grill.
Do you think I'd kill anything with this on, though?
Oh, you'd
think
get
it would
shot.
work?
Yeah.
No.
And I want to say this. I'm glad you're back, Gary.
Thank you.
It's much better. It sounds better when you bring us in than when I bring us in every time. I think Mike will agree with that. So.
Hey, this segment is brought to you.
Hey, we got by, though, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
That's
We squeaked by.
This segment is brought to you by Steve Nichols, Bucks and Bulls Guides and Outfitters, Despino Jim South Tire, and Lake Fork Guide, Johnny's Guys.
Johnny's Guys. You leave Johnny's Guys alone. He don't want you fooling with it.
Oh, aren't you glad I'm back?
Yeah.
BASS has canceled the Sabine tournament.
Yep. Citing heavy rains and high water, the Sabine River watershed, BASS has decided to postpone the Bass Pro Shops Bassmaster Elite presented by Econo Lodge. Has been rescheduled to had been scheduled to begin in Orange, Texas this week. Safety of our anglers, of course, and the waters of the Sabine River system are a primary concern, according to Trip Weldon. Water conditions are expected to create potential hazards for boating conditions. And
have they named a date?
No, the tournament originally was for Friday, April 6th, to conclude on Monday, April 9th. As conditions began to deteriorate, Weldon told the series anglers, blah, blah, blah. We became convinced today the conditions would not approve. The tournament will be rescheduled for another time during the 2018 Elite Series season, which concludes the Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year Championship in September. So sometime between now and September, they're going to come back to Orange, Texas. The problem with that was they had the city of Orange had country western singers lined up.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, it was a big deal. And
wow.
They had to cancel everybody.
Wow.
So,
I'm going to show my ignorance, which is not hard to do. The Sabine River dumps into what?
The Gulf of Mexico.
Okay. Yeah. How close to the Gulf of Mexico is the tournament site?
How far as a crow flies, I would say 50 miles, maybe.
So it's 50 miles from down the river to get to the Gulf.
I would think so.
Okay. What my question is, and I know I know safety comes first, absolutely, but I'm wondering when they did away with venturing over into Louisiana, they lost probably 80% of their
fishable waters.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Now that they're not doing that and they're restricting the anglers to a smaller portion, if it hadn't been that way, if they could still come into Louisiana and go as far as they could go and not hit Cuba, would they have still canceled it? I'm just curious.
Well, again, the reason why they did that was the safety of the anglers. They were scared somebody was going to get shot down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, that's the reason why they pulled it out of the state.
Two things you don't mess with Mother Nature or coon asses.
There you go.
Dude, let me tell you. The Boss Tournament number 3. This weekend, Caddo Lake.
This weekend on Caddo Lake, I will be at Earl G. Williams Park Saturday morning, hopefully by about 5 o'clock. depending on what I do Friday night, to take late entries. The tournament is not there. It's a trailer tournament. You can launch anywhere. I've got to look up the first cast. I'm not sure. It's going to be about 6:30.
That's not official.
That's right. That's not official. I haven't been able to find sunrise for Saturday morning, but the weigh-in will be at the relay station. I know it's not called the relay station. What's it called now? Cash Magic.
Yeah.
At Highway 1 and Highway 2, and I want to thank the new manager there for letting us have it there again.
Sunrise is 6:53, by the way.
6:53.
6:53.
Is that for Natchitoches or is that for
Saturday morning?
I'm looking at Shreveport. It's got to be out of Shreveport.
Okay, that should be 6:53. That's what I get this from.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Should be right.
Then I'll figure back up 30 minutes, so that should be
about 6:23.
6:23.
Unofficial.
Yeah. But no, I'm going with that.
You're going with that?
Yeah.
Launch
If you're looking at the Shreveport deal, I'm going to go with that.
Launch will be 6:23 Saturday morning.
First cast.
First cast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Launch anywhere, anytime, as long as you have your lights on, all your lights on.
And
life jackets.
we could have rain, and it's going to be cold.
I know it's going to be cold. A high that day is supposed to be like
57,
lower 50s,
58.
middle 50s, something like that. Yeah.
And it's going to be like 45
But here's
degrees.
the deal that a lot of people may not know, and I always do this on Caddo Lake, and I know somebody's going to miss it. You don't have to be to the check-in, to the bag line. You don't have to be checked in until 4 on this tournament.
Okay, gotcha.
Because it's so far around the lake. I've always changed that one tournament, give you an extra 30 minutes.
I have a question for you. This just popped up the other day.
I've got an answer.
Okay. You and I both fished the Trooper Burns tournament this past Saturday.
No, that's not true. I was out there on the water. I apparently wasn't fishing.
I just found out 6:55.
So it'll be 6:25.
6:25.
6:25 Saturday morning.
6:25.
Okay, so here's my
cast.
question for you. Last cast, it was in the rule. Last cast at 3:00.
I know. I read that.
I was wondering, does that mean you can make a cast at 3:00?
Yes, technically, yes.
Yes. So for you.
It's stop at 3:00.
Okay, now what if at 2:59 and 30 seconds
you made a cast?
I have made a cast and I hook a fish.
And you have not landed him, yes.
Right.
As long as you do not make a cast after the clock turns to 3.00.
Okay, gotcha.
As long as you do not make a cast after that.
Yeah.
Lines out of the water at 3:00.
Right.
Reel them in.
Yeah.
If you hook a fish doing that, that's okay.
Okay.
And and it's like be in line at 3:30. Technically, by the book, that means when that clock says 3.30, you're late. Because any time after that is 3:30 and a second.
Yes.
Or 3:30
right.
and 10 seconds.
Right.
But you can't get that through most people. Oh, it still says 3:30, I'm not late. So I fudge on that, and as long as it's not the cell phone hasn't turned to 3.31 on check-in, I allow that.
On Major League Fishing last week, that scenario took place. The guy hooks a fish, but in Major League Fishing, it's got to be in the boat when that clock strikes 0.
Yeah.
So that's a little different. Mike's giving you a little extra time there.
Well, of course, with this one, tournament number 3, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. And the fish did not really bite that good last Saturday, but they bit really good. I was off last week, and they bit really good all week long. So I'm thinking that maybe, it just was a stroke of bad luck they didn't bite Saturday.
Well, I think that I just think that our lakes in general around here, the fish have become accustomed. No, they have learned, not accustomed to. They have learned the sound of boat motors before daylight. I think these fish that was the most boats.
It's like opening day of deer season.
That's the most boats I've ever fished around on Caddo Lake Saturday.
And you know what?
It was bad.
I saw 2 idiots Saturday on Kettle Lake.
I saw a bunch of them.
Just 2? I can say just 2?
No, I saw 2. No, I'm talking about
that's when me and Mike Fisher drove by.
that could have possibly killed someone.
Oh, no.
I saw a guy come out of Martha's Crossing out of the old folks playground wide open out into the middle of the river
That's a blind spot right there.
And, dude, let me tell you, I mean, there was another boat that was coming. It could not have been closer. And I'm thinking to myself, that's all on that guy coming into the river. The guy who's going down the river, you know, he's minding his own business, and all of a sudden he's got a 21-foot bass boat looking at him. That's wrong. That's wrong in anybody's book.
Yep.
Now, that is a marked boat road coming out. That's a marked boat road on the river too.
Sure, they're both marked boat roads.
Yeah. So I'm wondering how you would
But
deem, although common sense tells you, you know, like if a dirt road crosses interstate,
Which one
should have the right of way.
Yeah, exactly.
But
and
those
that's
are
pretty
both-
much that's pretty much the scenario.
But
there.
both those boat roads are connected with a tree line in between that you can't see.
You cannot
Can't see around
Yeah,
it. I mean,
because right there,
you
you know,
don't know.
anything from the long pond, you can't see any of that,
No.
and you come out of a curve before you even get to Martha's
Exactly.
Crossing.
Yeah.
So
It
I
all
was
comes down to common sense and the lack of therefore.
yeah.
Yeah, and slow down.
Come on, you know, I mean, just
You ain't
pay
got to do
attention.
70 through there.
No,
Just slow down.
Just slow down.
Yeah.
Watch
All
what's
right,
going on around you. We've got. Have you got the Cash Splash Thursday night? Tomorrow night?
Yeah, tomorrow night. Yes, we do.
Woo, that ought to be fun.
And let's keep him in our prayers. My right-hand man, Big Mike Williams, had a car accident yesterday and is laid up with a broke rib.
Oh, you're
man.
kidding me.
So, yeah.
And that's
so-
painful.
Oh,
And you
well-
can't breathe.
Dude.
Every breath you take, you hurt. Oh.
And what an awesome man.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah,
can't
Big
do this
Mike, I like
without him.
Mike.
Well, I can do it without him.
You just
but
don't want
only
to.
because I've called and put Don McCutcheon on the spot.
Uh-oh.
So Don McCutcheon is going to be there. Now, Big Mike said he was going to come over and try to help with the registration.
Really?
But I hope he doesn't. I hope he feels like it. But if he doesn't feel like it, I hope he doesn't get out just because he feels like he need to. But
Yeah.
yeah. And
Prayers
it is
with
out
Mike.
there tomorrow night. We start taking registrations at 4:15, not a minute before.
Okay.
And,
One other thing that's not on here, we're going to get to the big news here in a minute, but one thing that's not on here, I got notification about this a couple of weeks ago. They are going to be holding the Whitetails Unlimited first ever Deer Camp Tour 2018. This is the Arklatex Deer Camp. It's going to be tomorrow evening, the Bossier Civic Center, 620 Benton Road in Bossier City. Games, raffles, the social hour starts at 6, dinner at 7. Tickets still available, $40 for a single, $25 for spouse or child, 15 and under. They've got all kinds of sponsor opportunities here. Still plenty of seats and stuff left. Great door prizes and raffles, auction items, all that kind of cool stuff. If you're looking for a ticket on this one, I'm sure you'll be able to buy them at the door, but you can call J.J. Oswalt, 903-503-8176, or Joel Krausen at 318-218-0753.
Real quick, we got the ABA Race Scott National Championship going on this week on Red River. Wouldn't you like to be on the Red River? Actually got a report from Nick LeBrun. Nick's in it, Cole Garrett, Billy Graves down at Montgomery, some local guys. This is the national championship for ABA, the Race Scott Championship. Nick sent me a report this morning. Seems to me that the fishing is getting tougher each day as the days go on with all the pressure. The river's fishing very small due to high water conditions and all the mud and current. So everybody is pounding the same stuff. Lots of backwater areas have changed since the BFL Regional a year ago, all due to recent high water. The sand has moved around a lot since then. He said, I predict if somebody can catch 10 to 12 pounds per day for all 4 days, that will go a long way to winning this event, but that will be very hard. The winner will probably have one really good day and a few survival days mixed in.
What do you think? Okay. Nick, obviously, one of our premier fishermen around here.
Yeah. knows
Cole
what he's
Garrett,
doing.
certainly no slouch. Billy
No-
Graves,
no
you don't have
slouch.
to introduce him to anybody.
No.
But do you think that it will be somebody that knows nothing of the river that'll win it?
It's going to be a guy that gets on a spot and can sit there and catch them and nobody come in there on him.
Yeah.
That's the guy that finds
there's-
it
there's-
and can do it for 4 days
Yeah.
with nobody knowing he's catching them off
And
that
there
spot.
are spots that'll hold fish
Oh.
that people don't fish.
Yeah, close to the ramp especially.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good luck to everybody fishing that. Sit tight. Aye, Cajun Field.
Uh-oh.
Cajun Field
Let her
Broussard.
rip, tater chip.
We're going to get a South Louisiana report up next. Hook it up and track it down, 11:30, the Tiger.
You don't need an invitation. Kick off your shoes, come on in.
Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show thanks you for tuning us in today. This show would not be possible without our great sponsors, Toledo Town and Tackle, J&J Exterminating, V&M Baits, Commercial Power Equipment, and Daiwa Samurai Braid, the best casting and most dependable braided fishing line on the market today. Now back to the guys who are very dependable, Gary, Steve, and Mike.
And a little word about Commercial Power Equipment. It's that time. You had to mow your grass yet?
Yes, twice.
You Mike?
Yes, twice.
Yeah. Donnie Westmoreland's in here. Donnie, have you mowed your grass yet?
Oh, multiple times.
Multiple. I'm gonna tell you.
Well, that's twice.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. With this rain, and even though we're having a little cool snap right now,
Yeah.
that yard has greened up, and you're not really mowing the grass yet. You're just mowing the weeds.
Yeah, the
that are in
clover.
there. Well, guess what? Commercial Power Equipment wants to hook you up. Owner Paul Sutherland is the man. He'll get you ready for all that spring yard work. Blowers, trimmers, to mowers. They have got it all.
Chainsaws. I used a chainsaw yesterday.
Did you?
Yep, cut down one big tree and two big limbs.
I was going to say, dude, you have really let your yard go. You got to use the chainsaw. Wow.
But they're sunk on my dock now, so.
Oh, okay. I see. Now we know where to white perch fish.
That ain't stupid.
They carry the best mower on the market today, and you don't even need me to say it, but they pay us to say it. Exmark. Of course, if you're using yours a whole lot, you might want to look at the commercial Exmark, or if you're just a lightweight weekend warrior, the residential model is just as good as anything out there.
If you're using a chainsaw, you probably don't need your X-Mark.
No, you probably need to steer clear of that. In-house financing available. Just go to mybigmower.com to learn more. That's mybigmower.com. Learn more about commercial power equipment. Cajun Phil Broussard on the phone with us right now. And Cajun Phil, how much water? I mean, have you got like a ton of water now that you haven't had in a long time down there?
Kevin told me not even to talk to you guys. I said, why? I said, why? He says, they sending all that muddy crap down here to us.
Well, we didn't want it.
It is so muddy down here and high. We've been catching a bunch of these fish, and their nose is all bleeding. I mean, it's bad. You ought to see them. They look bad. So I brought one to the Wildlife and Fisheries. I said, well, what is this? He said, man, the water's so muddy, they can't see. They're running in rocks and docks, running into each other.
Drunk fish.
Woo, boy.
So
I don't know how long it's going to take. I mean, you got all that coming out of Toledo Bend, too, and then it goes down to Sabine. Once it hits the intercoastal, then it comes, for some reason, it don't go west, it goes east, so it's coming down here.
Now, Phil, Mike Eccles asked a question a while ago. How far is it from Beaumont, say, where that BASS canceled their tournament, to, say, the Gulf, where that water empties into the Gulf? How many miles is that in between?
Just make something
really not far. I would say maybe 20.
Oh, I said 50, so I was off.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, it depends on how you go. If you know the back route, yeah. Now, if you take the main big old channel, yeah, it'd take you a lot longer. But we run a bunch of bayous and stuff like that, to get where we're going. Kind of like, they got this weekend. They got a tournament out of Port Arthur, elite redfish tournament, and I would say maximum of 5 miles to the Gulf from there. You know?
Now, with a tournament like that, and you got some of the best red fishermen in the country that are going to be fishing that. What will it take to win that?
Not much. It is bad.
Really?
And the bad thing about it is, like right now, we got 4 boats going out tomorrow. Kevin's going to go down from here. He's going to go down to the Gulf jetties, but everything you catch is too big to even keep, But, I mean, at least people have a good time.
Sure.
Right.
We had one of our boats that went out yesterday. They actually caught a wad of flounder, which is really crazy. They caught a 3-man limit of flounder and had a red or two and a speck or two, but they caught a lot of flounder yesterday, which is crazy for this time of the year, but they did good.
Cajun Phil Broussard on the phone with us. Cajun Phil, now listen, are there places down there, because like up here, even around Toledo, around the Sabine River, you can find little pockets where you can find clear water. Is that what Kevin's having to do to try?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what Kevin's having to do to catch fish?
The bad thing about it is the clear water is so far back. I'm going to give you an idea. Me and Captain Kevin and Captain Carlos went 3 days ago, We went way back to the Clearwater, and I'm talking about it was pretty. It was full of grass and all that. We got way back there where we normally catch a big old wad of redfish. We caught 1 redfish, 8 bass, and 6 big blue channel cats. Now, you tell me the water ain't fresh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that a
And
spot
nice bass. I'm talking about 3-pounders, you know.
Is that a spot you normally don't catch bass?
No, we do, but they're normally small, little pound and a half stuff, you know, and we don't catch a lot. We usually catch, you know, we'll come in with maybe 20 reds, and, you know, with that we'll have 3 or 4 small bass and maybe 3 or 4 of them big old channel cats. But, I mean, whenever you outnumber the bass and the channel cat over the redfish, you know it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Cajun Phil, explain to us the spawning cycle of the redfish. Now, you talk about going out on the jetties, and that's where you catch the ones that are too big to keep, and you catch your regular ones, regular size, eating size stuff, always in the marsh. You're probably not going to catch a 30-pound red in the marsh. What does that have to do with? Why are the big ones out in the Gulf and the smaller ones in the marsh?
Because the big ones spawn in the Gulf, and so they're hanging where they can just go offshore there and spawn whenever it gets time, and that's where you see the big, huge schools of 4,000 and 5,000. You know, Kevin and I's been out there. That just, I mean, as far as you could see, it was redfish. Just every one of them, just dogs. I'm talking about just, oh Lord. You catch about 8 or 9 of them, and you're ready to give up. You know what I'm saying? But yet there's hundreds, and every time you throw, you got one, so it's hard to stop. But
so
you come in, you wish you'd have stopped about 20 redfish earlier. But that's where they spawn. They spawn offshore, and once they spawn, they start coming in. They'll hit the jetties first, and then they'll come on into the lake, and then they'll work their way all the way back to the back end of that marsh where we're catching them bass, catfish right now. So, and we love it when they get back there because they a foot of water at the deepest, and you see almost everything you catch. You sight cast. I mean, Kevin said, look, there's 6 of them going down the bank right there. Throw about 3 foot in front of them, and customer throw about 3 foot in front of them. That's Katie bar the door. They got it.
Well, when a redfish spawns, I mean, we're used to looking at bass and brim and stuff spawning. They make a little sweep out of place on the ground and 2 foot of water. Where does a redfish? You say spawns offshore? Are they spawning on the bottom in the sand, or do they spawn? I mean,
no, sir. They're way offshore, and they're spawning just out in the water, and the eggs are just floating around, and the males running around dumping their deal on the eggs as they come out.
Huh.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
Now, do they hang around with them like a bass does to protect them for a while, or what do they do?
Now that I don't know. I've never seen them once they lay them. You know what? Because normally we're out there, we're starching and yanking them. A lot of times we start and yanking, the eggs are coming out, and we let everything go anyway. But you go back the next day and you can't find one. They done 20 miles somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. They don't just hang around that same area. So I would say no as far as that goes, because if the case would be yeah, of course them eggs going to go a long ways in that current, that tide, and all that. So yeah, they could be following them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that I don't know.
Now, Phil, we got a question for you. You know, a BASS canceling or eliminating the Louisiana waters and forcing all the Elite Series anglers to fish Texas waters only for this Beaumont event that was coming up. What's your opinion on that in terms of Louisiana? Or what do we need to be doing different?
We need to get somebody that's not worried about money. I mean, all the big dollars is what's causing all this stuff. All the people that are big shots and all the companies and millionaires, and they got all this stuff, and they blocking off canals and stuff that should not be blocked off, and it's just a crying shame. I mean, 2 of my friends this week posted on Facebook. One of them got a ticket in right off the Sabine, and one of them got a ticket in Cameron Parish, fishing the illegal waters that they had been fishing since they was, fishing with their dads 40 years ago. They've been fishing it all this whole time, and now all of a sudden they get a ticket for going where they've been fishing all their life. I mean, it's stupid.
Wow.
Are those areas marked?
We're the only state that does that.
Are those areas marked, Phil? I mean, do you have to go past like a no trespassing sign in order to be in a spot like
well,
that?
you don't. Cameron Parish don't need to post there.
So how do you know?
They're when you see the boat coming, say you need to get out of here. If I see you again, you get a ticket.
Gosh, man. That's crazy.
Well, we've talked a lot about
It's stupid. It's mind-boggling. We need to get politicians that everybody just needs to holler at their senators and congressmen and even write the governor. I mean, and just say, hey, we're supposed to be a sportsman's paradise. Can't be a sportsman's paradise if you're running everybody out of everything they want to catch fish in.
Amen.
And you ought to be a guide and have to put up with that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to ask, how much has it affected your business?
A lot. I mean, places that I fished all my life. Of course, I'm 75, so that's been a long time. But I mean, places that me and my mom and dad used to fish all the time. I mean, you can't even go in there no more. And they don't have posted signs, but they sure come in. And the crabbers are the worst. The crabbers are the one that run most people out because they got the crabbing rights to these areas. So they'll go and tell you to get out, that it's posted and it's private property. They don't own it or have nothing to do with it other than they got the crabbing rights, but the people that own it ask them to run everybody out they see. And then if they go back, they run the crab deals every day, and if you go back in there, they'll write your numbers down and turn it into a search department. First thing you know, you're getting a letter,
Wow.
that you were warned and you went back. So,
That's just a mess.
I'm telling you, man.
oh, it really is. I mean, the waters that we fished all our life, it's just we're down now to where we used to have 1,000 spots to go to. Now we're down to about every guy has about 30 now. You know what I mean? We got more than that, but I'm just saying.
Right.
That's an exaggerated figure, but that's about how bad it's getting.
Well, Cajun Phil, if somebody's wanting to come down there and do a little red fishing, maybe some speck fishing, or catch those flounders that apparently are biting for absolutely no reason
Or
whatsoever.
get a ticket.
Or get a ticket. Or be shown where not to
get a ticket. Yeah, come on, Funny Phil.
What does somebody need to do to get a hold of you?
I would first thing I'd do is I'd wait about 2 weeks. You want to come about the middle of this month, the last 2 weeks of this month, and from here on out, it ought to be just stupid because the fish are here. It's just that the wind's been blowing so hard, we've been getting so much rain and the water's muddy, but the fish are here because you get 2 or 3 days of calm and the water clears up, because what it is it comes off the Gulf and it clears up real quick. And so whenever it starts to clear up, I mean, we just start hammering. I mean, it's crazy.
So you got to be there when that
anyway,
happens.
they can contact me at CajunPhil@hotmail.com. I'm real simple to get. CajunPhil@hotmail.com, or call me. My number is 337-540-5530, and like our motto says, come and get you some.
Cajun Phil Broussard. Hey, you got to hit us with one good IE real quick.
All right.
Phil,
You know what? Yeah.
give us your little
Signature Yale.
Yeah.
Hey.
There it is.
How about that? Hey,
That's what I'm talking about. Cajun Phil Broussard,
Let's get
thank you,
it
brother.
Bye-bye.
Bye. We are hooking up and tracking down. Sit tight. We're going to talk some high school fishing here in just a minute. Donnie Westmoreland is here. Now, it's okay that he's here, right? I mean, he's not supposed to be in the emergency room right now.
Well, not
Has
horizontal.
Has he talked with his boss about all this?
As long as none of us are in there, we're okay.
We're hooking up and tracking down 11:30. The Tiger.
Got a tournament coming up or looking for lake levels? Maybe you need some great fishing or hunting tips. Check out our website at HUTDshow.com, loaded with essential information that you need to know. This segment presented by K2 Coolers, Nichols Department Stores, Groove Fishing, Toledo Fiberglass, and Lake Fork Marina. 2016 and 2017 hooking up and tracking down's best marina on Lake Fork. To reserve your cabin or hotel room, go to lakeforkmarina.com. Once again, here are the voices of the great outdoors, Steve, Gary, and Mike.
You know, we've been talking about all the places you can't fish right now, from here all the way down the Sabine River because the water's too high and it's muddy.
Yeah.
It never gets too high to go to Lake Fork.
Amen.
And when you go to Lake Fork Marina. For over 30 years, they have been a full-service resort. Great accommodations, from full-size hotel rooms to cabins and a scenic RV park where you can pull that RV up and stay for a week at a time. Internet service, guest laundry, and a really good restaurant, Tiffany's. Tackle store with all the top brands. You won't find junk on that tackle store.
No.
Not at all. The shelves there. Go to lakeforkmarina.com to learn more about the #1 resort on Lake Fork. That's lakeforkmarina.com.
In the studio with us today, are you the coach of the Captain Shreve team?
Yes, sir. I am the coach of Captain Shreve.
Donnie Westmoreland, the coach from the coach's mouth himself.
There you go.
Coach of the Captain Shreve high school football or high school fishing team. And you know, that's one of the things that I have seen over the last couple of years, Donnie, that has truly revitalized the sport of fishing. Is not only, I mean, do you have a 2-time Bassmaster Classic winner that went through the high school ranks and then competed at Auburn University in the collegiate ranks and has now proven himself the last 2 years to be the best in the business. That has given such a shot in the arm to the sport of bass fishing, these young anglers. One of the things that occurs to me is that as they develop their skills, is someone also developing with them the ethics that go with fishing?
Yeah, and you know, that's one thing that I think people get a misconception of, is that as a school director, that we're just out there teaching fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's totally false, because where we do want to teach fishing, we do want the kids to be successful in the water, but we want them to be good people off the water.
You bet.
And that's how we get a lot of our notoriety. The people see us and pay attention, because when they see these guys, they don't say, you know, that's a guy that's on the fishing team. They say, this is such and such, that's part of this fishing team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it good for all of us.
And another thing too is, in what a lot of people, especially that are on the water a lot, haven't recognized, or I guess they're starting to recognize, the fact that even the boat captains, a lot of those guys are not tournament anglers. They don't know the ethics rules either. They don't understand on the water ethics and how they should be acting. So we got kids going out with guys that don't have a clue how they're supposed to act. So that's why those classes are so important, that we teach not just the kids but the boat captains.
That's right. You know, our very first meeting of the year for us over at Captain Shreve, and I can probably speak for the rest of the guys out there too, because number one, we have eyes on us all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
To see how we are, how we act, how we behave. But the very first meeting that we have for the year is about ethics. It's about boat safety, how to handle yourself on and off the water. We go as far as in my group, we talk about boat ramp etiquette. I mean, how many people really teach that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
we've done a couple of shows on that.
Yeah, exactly.
So whereas ultimately they have a boat captain with them, but these kids know the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you'd be surprised when we have a meeting, I have just as many parents there that stay for the meetings than I do the kids.
Oh, I'm certain.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, it's one of the few sports where mom and dad can participate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not often that mom or dad gets allowed out on the football field.
Yeah.
You know, the mom or
To
dad
sit on the sideline.
Mom or dad is actually invited into the boat as a boat captain in that particular instance. And, you know, one of the things that has occurred to me is that these young anglers have demonstrated the capacity to be able to catch fish. They've really got a head start on a lot of us older guys because they've grown up in the electronics generation. And they understand what they're looking at when they look at a graph, and they understand, you know, those things. But is someone teaching them that you don't crowd this guy while he's fishing? Is someone teaching them that when you pull up to the ramp is not the time to unstrap the boat and pull the cover out and get your rods on the deck. Another one of the things that has occurred to me is that is somebody coaching them that when they win the tournament, that promotional side of things, because that's an opportunity that could open doors for them much down the road.
That's right. And we've even toyed the idea of having a speech type class or a speech series for our meetings, because that is important, because these guys, they don't realize the time, effort, energy, and money that goes into this to make this possible for them. When you look at the jerseys and those kids have the sponsors on there, that's people that have invested time and money to make it possible for them.
3 or 4 years ago, I did that with Niagara Central. We'd have a class. I'd actually call them up, do a one-on-one interview with them to what they could expect, what kind of questions are going to be asked, and don't just give yes or no answers or one color. What color jig? Black and blue. Give me some elaboration, and that's what they have to learn.
That's right, and it's funny because when we have our weigh-ins, we all kind of talk about it amongst each other a little bit, but we're going to make sure those kids talk. Yeah. And there's specific questions that we're going to ask them, and we hope they give great answers. But yeah, that's one thing that we're going to start to expect more and more of them to give back to the people that support us, because seriously, it wouldn't be possible without the people that help us every week that we put in with these kids. Because if we're not fishing a tournament this weekend, I promise you we're pre-fishing.
You bet. You bet.
And people are having to take time out to allow that to happen.
My oldest son played college baseball. And that was one of the things that they had to do, because it would seem like that all the athletes just had this one little canned speech. Oh, it was a team effort, and I'm just glad that I could contribute. And you knew exactly what the kid was going to say before he ever said it. And so the coach said, hey, look, this is not what we want to be known for. We want to be known as truly educated in the game. And we want to be able to convey without giving away that secret spot or that unless there's an opportunity there for them promotionally to hit on that specific lure, but to be able to be entertaining while you're up there. And I'm going to tell you, there are so many guys out there that can catch a fish, but that can compel an audience after they've caught a fish. Those are the guys that we call the Elite Series BASS guys. They can compel the audience while they're on stage. They can catch a fish, and they've truly mastered that art. And it's all or nothing.
That's right. One thing that I want to push in the future as well is when they're on stage and they're talking, they have the microphone. Mm-hmm. But to be able to go up there and to promote themselves, to be professional, I want to make sure these guys know that this is a potential job interview.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people watching.
Right. Don, let's get to why you're here. The HFL. I think it's the greatest thing that y'all have ever done in this area for high school bass fishing is actually forming a league where kids can go and compete. Tell us about the HFL and how it got started and where it's going.
Okay, about 3 years ago, we kind of had just a group of guys. I had a son that was entering his freshman year in high school, and he asked about high school fishing. And just like most people, I didn't have time.
Mm. Yeah.
But the more I thought about it, I said, hey, this is something that if he's interested in, I get to do it with him. Hey, great. I get to spend the next 4 years participating with him. Yeah. And I have another one that's coming up that's there as well. So I have two. But anyway, getting with one of the guys, Kirk Williams over at North Sasota, and then, Jeremy Gallman, Charles Hogg, Jamie Wainscott, even Jeff Rollo for that year. That was kind of the core group of guys that we got together with 5 schools. And we decided, hey, look, every year up until that point, there was one tournament. It was the Louisiana High School Championship through the TBF.
Right.
If you were the top 10%, you got to fish again. If you didn't make the top 10%, you went home for the year.
Yeah.
You had the 18 and under bass club that you could participate in, but nothing really to this level. So
basically one event.
That's right. So we got together and said, why do we have to have one event? Who's saying we only have to have one? So we formed a 6 tournament series, and we had 5 schools, 42 teams, and we kind of saw where it was going. Last year when we showed up for the first tournament on Toledo Bend, we had 106 boats show up.
Wow.
And we didn't know what to do. And we moved up to about 12 high schools. So after that season was over, which has always been successful the last few years, we decided, look, we need to make this thing official. So we incorporated, we developed the North Louisiana High School Fishing League. We're up to about 19 high schools in the area, all the way from South Negrete all the way to Benton, over to Claiborne Parish, and
down to Natchitoches.
And I've got middle schools calling me now, wanting to know how to participate. And then so this year we had 156 teams register.
Wow.
And so people are telling me we're the fastest and biggest growing fishing trail in Louisiana.
Wow.
And then when the guy came up to do the TBF tournament, he said that we're the second biggest high school trail, second to Kentucky.
Wow.
Only by a few. And we're talking about the whole United States now.
Yeah.
And this has just been a matter of 3 years. But we kind of pitched the idea from the get-go with the Rosells over at Bayou Outdoors, and we met with Mike Eccles, which is here today with us, and man, they've been on board with us from day one. Never really asked a lot of questions, just basically, hey, what can we do to help? And through them, and the reason I have to mention them specifically is because I'm sure that if they wouldn't have been open-minded to what we had on the front end, it may not have grown as fast. So we appreciate everything they did to make it
Is it as
possible.
big as it can get?
No way.
No, not even
No
close.
way.
I'm just wondering. I mean, what's the real potential here?
Going into it next year, we have 156 registered teams now, 200 plus.
Wow.
And what I would like to see done down the road is more teams continue to get in, just like football, but you have districts. And then those district champions meet against each other, and then you have playoffs. And, I mean, it could be unlimited on what you could do with it.
Well, and here's something else. This is going all the way back to what we were saying a while ago. The coaches. This is probably the only sport, and it is a sport. It is a sanctioned sport. It should be just like anything else.
Yeah.
The only one where the coach, you, are not in charge of the players during the game. You're not out there while the game's going on.
You're not calling a play.
Yeah.
No.
Or if we talk about if somebody does something wrong,
Right.
you're not out there. You can't call somebody off the field or put somebody else in. So
Right.
they're on their own when they're out there.
That's
So
correct.
they have to learn. They have to learn from the people
Need a break.
what to do. So
Donnie Westmoreland, thank you, and continued success with this. I'm really excited about what's coming up, and we've already demonstrated that some of our high school anglers have gone on and are real competitors on the collegiate level, and who knows what might be next for them on the professional side of things as they move up through the ranks on that. And you guys are directly responsible for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited because I try to look down the road, not at today. I'm always looking for tomorrow. And to look at some of these guys that we've been with for the past 3 years and in the fourth year going into it, to see where I might see them 3 or 4 years from now, and to say, hey, we knew that guy.
That's right. That's right.
That's what's exciting.
High school fishing is hot right here in North Louisiana. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30 The Tiger.
Washes away their sin. Oh, yes, he does. I reel 'em in and he washes away their sin.
ever been to our Facebook page? Go to Hook It Up and Tracking Down Show on Facebook for outdoors news, videos, and great product giveaways. This segment presented by Cypress Knee Outdoors, United Rentals, and Toledo Bend guide Daryl Gleason. Make plans now to go out with Daryl Gleason on the #1 lake for 2 consecutive years, Toledo Bend. Go to GleasonFishing.com and schedule your next trip today.
And here's a quick word from Daiwa. Great rods and reels that fit your needs and your budget. Reels like the Steez, Zillion, Tatula, Lexa, or Fuego. Signature Series rods from Classic champion Randy Howe, Brent Ayler, Takahiro Omori, and Andy Montgomery, just a few leading the way in innovation and quality. Also, make sure you try the #1 fishing braid on the market, Daiwa Samurai Braid.
I just got a box of stuff from Randy Howe about 2 days ago. Sent it for the Tommy Brown banquet that we're having.
Oh, wow.
I want to thank Randy for that. The whole box, rain suits, baits, shirts.
Awesome.
Some of it may actually wind up at the raffle. But I'm going to look good walking around.
Johnny, guys, is it cold at Lake Fork today with the wind and everything?
Man, I got on my big camo jacket this morning and my snow bib. So.
Are
Serious.
Are the fish biting?
No.
No.
This thing shut them down. We've had 2 bass bites this morning, landed one of them, about 3 pounds, and caught a catfish. We're glad we got that many.
Wow. So what do you think? I mean, recovery time. I mean, will it be, this week, or do you think they'll bounce back tomorrow?
Oh, they'll bounce back tomorrow. This has been the screwiest spring. The fish really hadn't come in and did a big wave of spawners on this full moon like we expected. I mean, I expected by now you go anywhere on the bank line you wanted to catch fish, but they're holding off the first break, and fish have been caught, or chatterbaits out there, and the big swim bait bites already started because they're holding out there hitting big old gizzard shad.
You know what? I'm glad you brought up that swim bait, because there's one swim bait that you use a lot. What's the brand of that one?
I was catching a lot last year on the big bass streak, the 7.5-inch bass streak, and I've got it throwing already. And this year I'm going to do some 3/16 baits. They've got a big tournament this weekend where just swim baits only over 6 inches, and there'll be some big fish caught on them because if you catch the wind right and get on the windy points where the loons are, the big loons they know where the fish are in the bait, obviously. That seems to be the ticket. That's what we're going to do this evening. After lunch, we tried to do it this morning, but wind wouldn't let us, and we pulled up in the cove, and all you catch buck bass in there.
So you'll hit the water after you have a burger at Tiffany's.
Yep, it's on order right in there right now. And we're gonna revamp, throw some chatterbaits, and once we get on a little pod, we're gonna go up with the big swim bait and try to catch a big one.
Johnny, do you know of any of the swim baits, the hard plastic jointed swim baits that catch fish as well as the plastic?
There's one called a S-Waver. I'm not sure who makes that one, but I got on it from the guys at Tactical Fishing out in California. They had a couple of videos on it, and it's the glide bait, and you just got to learn to, halfway reel your reel, just 1/2 crank each time, and let that bait start walking left and right, and the big fish really get on that one too. But I do like the big plastics because you can reel them real slow too.
You need a low gear ratio, like 5-4 to 1, something like that.
Yeah, it's mainly just letting the line. It's almost like walking the dog, and you just hold your rod tip straight at it and let it do a big old S curve as it slowly swims in. But some reason or other, it just triggers those little big fish. So
with that
a lot of fun to fish them.
With that bass tricks, what's the number one rule in being able to catch fish with that? Is it varying your retrieve? Is it finding a windy point? What would you say is the number one?
I think the most important about that, and not everyone out of the package is perfect. Some of them don't run just right, and when you get one on that does, you instantly feel it when you throw it. But rigging it is the absolute most important. If you don't have it dead centered with the centering pin, and you don't have it coming out exactly the length of that hook, it's going to have a kink in it, and it just won't run as natural as. But when you get one that's pulling right and make a long cast, let a little bow get in your line, and just keep that bow in it. Don't get a straight line. Let the bait do the swimming. You're going to get a bite on it. I mean, they'll just, and they tick it. I mean, it's all. They might bump it two or three times, and then they'll just load up on it. But it's a technique, and every time you think you know a lot about it, you get with somebody that really does, and they get 10 times more bites. And it makes you wonder, what am I doing wrong?
What are you looking for? I mean, water depth wise, when you're throwing that 4 to 6 feet, something like that.
First drop.
That might be where you're getting your bite. You need to be out in about 8, 10 foot, 12 foot, maybe on the points, and just catch a wind coming in on the point right and make long casts. But I've just been fishing too shallow. I mean, there've been a few fish we caught a 9.5. We had 3 or 4 over 8s, 2 or 3 foot of water, but that bite's kind of died on me. So we're out there trying to catch the next pre-spawn bunch they just haven't committed to come in. So
are you
kind of water weird.
Are you catching any fish yet on the live bait, the black salties or anything along those lines?
Well, we had 3 bites on them this morning. I had been doing pretty good, but it's just kind of died on me lately, and I'm expecting to bounce back once the wave gets in there. But what more I'm getting right now is the little buck bass are hitting it, and you'll miss quite a few. The big ones just aren't where they usually are that I catch them on salty. But every time we turn around, we got a cold front or high winds coming from different directions. So it's been throwing us some curves.
Help me out with this one, Johnny. This is something that you were trying to explain to me our last trip last year. I got a buddy, Dr. Mike Sewell, who is just killing them up on Cypress Black Bayou right now, and he's catching a lot of fish. He said that since he changed over to a spinning rod as opposed to a bait caster, he said that he's just wearing a fish out. He catches way more, but not nearly as big. But he's catching fish right now, I mean strong, on the Nico rig. Explain that.
Yeah, the Nico rig, which is nothing more than a wacky rig with the lead in the nose of the worm or the Cinco, and you put your hook on a little O-ring split collar with the point up and the head down, and it makes it look like a little inchworm when it hits the bottom. But I'd be willing to bet while he's catching more fish on spinning rod versus casting, he probably dropped down in line size about 10 pounds.
Ah.
And that light line with that Nico rig is deadly, and all the pros are fishing. I think that's what Jordan caught a lot of his fish on in the Classic, and it's just a simple, easy way to fish. And they even make a little weedless hook now. VMC's come out with one that's got some 20-pound monofilament weed guard on it, and that's a pretty good way to go. But just right now, everybody comes here, they want to catch a real big one, and we just don't downsize to that Nico too much. But if I was going to fish a tournament, that's what I'd have on.
Johnny, is the lead in the head of the wacky worm? Is it just like putting the lead nail in it, or is it bigger than that?
No, it's basically just a straight lead nail. BMC makes one that's got a little ball. You can actually take a crappie jig and cut the eye off and the round part of the hook and just slide it up in there if you've got a little keeper. Anything that's got lead that'll hold the head of the worm. And when it falls, it kind of falls backwards. So when you hop it up, it's got a real twitch like an inchworm, and then when it falls, it'll slide back a little bit.
Do you think that on Lake Fork you are still due for a huge rush of big fish to come in, like in the next couple of weeks?
It ought to be any day or any afternoon. I absolutely believe it. I mean, I've been thinking it for about a week now, but we're past the first little spawn. There's evidence of that. Some fish are caught on the nest. I didn't see many fish on the nest, 3 or 4 at most. But a lot of people caught a few. But that's over, and this second big wave just not flooded the banks yet like they usually do. So they're going to. The water's in pretty good shape. We've got a little bit more stain this year, so you're not going to see as many fish. But what I'm seeing is you get on out and get out in that 8 or 10 foot and chunk and whine, and you can get bit. And once they commit, it'll pick up. So
okay, Johnny.
Best is still ahead of us.
If somebody wants to get in on that, do you have any open dates left in April?
I do. I've got about 4 days left in April, 5 maybe counting one weekend, and it's going to be good.
You get stupid crazy in May.
Yeah, it'll pick up. I don't have a lot booked in May, so there are going to be some great dates. It seems like people are waiting on this weather to plan it, pretty close. Had several cancellations, and I don't blame them. I'm begging for a cancellation when it's predicting 25-mile-an-hour wind and might be thunderstorms.
Exactly.
So it hadn't hurt my feelings at all to miss some, but usually I'll let the customer know whether it's going to be a decent day or not, and we just make a decision from there.
So what's
got plenty of days of it.
What's the best way to make that happen? If somebody's wanting to come with the Johnny Geis on the Lake Fork, what do they got to do?
Hey, just give me a call on my cell. It's 972-800-3882. 972-800-3882. And one other thing, just information, I'm going to be doing the Texas Insider Fishing Report for the upper region in Texas. So each week on Fox Sports Southwest, I'll be doing reports of not only Lake Fork, but surrounding lakes around this area, and doing freshwater reports on black bass, crappie. Crappie are biting great on the lake right now. Somebody wants a big mess of crappie, it's time to come.
Johnny Geis can make it happen for you, the Lake Fork Guide of the Year. I'm telling you, we are just tickled to death every time that Johnny says, okay, it's time, and you know it's getting there right
well, it's
now.
time for him to be in the boat catching those hogs that we hear about. It's
That's right.
It's that time.
Check him out at lakeforkbigfish.com. His Facebook page, he's always updated with the latest fish that they're catching, and it is so incredible to spend a day with him. You got to make that happen. Johnny, we'll at you the next time, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Johnny Geis, get you some of that.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, just get you some of that.
We've been there. We had all we wanted.
Yeah, we are hooking up and tracking down 11:30. The Tiger.
And tell me that you need me.
Hey, thank you for tuning us in today. This is hour number 2 with more news and information related to God's great outdoors. This segment presented by Commercial Power Equipment, the Red River Waterway Commission, Stingray Line Cutter, and Espino and Jim's Big South Tire. Your tire supply headquarters with the best prices and the best service. Take it away, guys.
We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30 the Tiger. It's Gary McCoy, the old Ranger Iowa pro staffer Steve Graff. The Mud Hen Mike Eccles is here. You know what? I got y'all beat on something. I have gotten so fat my picture fell off the wall. I have decided over the course of the last year, it's like, dang it, boy. Mashed potatoes are good, but It takes 2 mirrors to hold all of me.
So we
now.
ain't going to Nikki's today? Is
No,
what you're
that
saying?
ain't happening. On the phone with us, FLW Pro James Watson. And James is going to hook us up a little bit with some discussion about bed fishing and the best springtime bass baits. And you know what, James, in our neck of the woods around here, I would venture that a lot of guys would say either the chatterbait or the red rattle trap, #1 spring, early spring bass baits. Agree or disagree?
I couldn't argue with that one bit down there where you're at.
So what part of the world is home for you? Missouri?
I'm looking at it right now, Table Rock Lake.
Okay, so Table Rock, another great example. Table Rock, you can read the date on a dime in 15 feet of water. You don't have nearly the clarity issues there that we have here. How much different is it there than if you were to come to the Red River?
100% different.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
A 360. Yeah.
So if you're prepping for a spring tournament down here, you're coming to Toledo Bend, you're going to the Red River. What's in James Watson's boat?
Well, chatterbait, spinnerbait, square bill, and definitely some Lucky Strike ringmasters in case there's anything around there to punch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, James, wouldn't you say that chatterbait really changed? I mean, of all the baits that have come out in the last 20 years,
the bladed jig.
The bladed jig
right.
is really what changed everything. It put a whole new, different angle on everything.
You know what? I have very limited experience with a bladed jig. I mean, very, very, very limited. And up until recently did I even start throwing it around here. But it is a game changer. Years and years and years ago, a gentleman by the name of Terry Thomas here in the Ozarks, he's a local legend. I mean, he's won, I don't know how many Redman regionals. I don't know how many boats he's won, but this guy keeps it real simple. He throws 3 things. Square bill, which is old Bagley's. It can be a 1, 2, or a 3. Black and blue jig, and his third bait was a black and blue jig. Those 3 baits. And what he would do with his jig was basically what everybody's doing now with chatterbait, except now, of course, he would swim it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just, swimming a jig in dirty water, swimming a jig in clear water all over the country has been there. The vibrating jig really put the whole swim jig thing on the map, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I mean, I know it's vibrating and stuff, but when most people think about a jig, they're thinking about casting it, pitching it into a bush or casting it and working it down, down the contour or down the bank. They're not thinking about throwing the jig out there and reeling it back like a spinnerbait. So,
well, James, this is one of the things that I've always said, not always, but I believe now. We get too wrapped up in a bait. We get too wrapped up in trying to buy success off the shelf, and we get too wrapped up in what somebody else is catching them on. You're verifying that. You can take a jig and you can catch the same fish that somebody else is catching on a jig. You can take it and reel it 2 foot under the water and catch the same fish that somebody's catching on a square bill, or you can reel it right under the surface and catch the same fish that somebody's catching on a spinnerbait or a buzzbait.
It depends on what you're trailing it with, though.
No, I don't think. No, it depends some. 98% of it is putting it where the fish want it, not what color bait it is or what kind of bait it is. Right?
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Well, good.
But to add to that trailer part,
We wish you could.
What's that now?
Yeah, adding to the trailer part, there are certain ways that I like to swim a jig, and I'll use a different chunk in most cases when I'm swimming a jig.
Mm-hmm. That's my point.
It's all about the lift.
If you're gonna swim it, you want something that's going to give you a little more vibration out of those pinchers or appendages, whatever. If you're going to fish it on the bottom, you want something that's going to raise up and stand off of the bottom a little bit better.
That's right. Or if you want something high in the water column and you want to really swim it on top, put a Zoom horny toad on it. That big bulky bait will make that jig ride on top like no other.
Mm-hmm.
Is Table Rock your favorite lake?
You know what Table Rock is? Table Rock, Lake the Ozarks, kind of a toss up there. I love them both.
Mm-hmm.
So now, as far as on the road lake, I'd have to say Okeechobee.
Really?
So,
because
yeah.
because that's the style of fishing that you like, or because it's Okeechobee?
But for whatever reason, of all the lakes I've been to, that seems to be the lake where no matter how bad practice is, they come around tournament time, I'll stumble onto something every time. I've had great success there, and it just seems like it's. I'm a terrible practice fisherman, by the way. It just seems like Okeechobee, year after year, cranks out more, better average fish catches for me than anywhere else I go.
FLW Pro James Watson on the phone with us. And, James, you know what? You just brought up something. Jordan Lee, now twice the Bassmaster Classic champion, and in both cases where he won the Classic, he says his practice was just terrible. But he fished the moment. He fished that particular day, and he's watching what's happening. And he said there was a lot of luck in it. He said the last pocket that he pulled into to fish boathouses, he said he had no idea, had not been there previous to that day. And he said there was a big fish under every boathouse that he pulled in. So there's some luck involved in this as well. But
absolutely,
when you're fishing that moment, Kevin Van Dam said one time, you got to pay attention to every fish that bites and those places that you don't get a bite. When you don't get a bite, what'd you learn?
What do I learn? All sorts of stuff runs through my little brain. Like, man, I should go back to selling real estate. I know I can make some money there. Man, I should go pick up rocks for somebody. I know I can't fail that. I am a terrible pre-fisherman. Maybe I'm a decent pre-fisherman. I don't know. I try to, like Kevin said, I try to gain as many clues as I possibly can that fit into my repertoire. I can't fish somebody else's stuff unless that somebody else is a known friend of mine that I've been in a boat with, fished buddy tournaments with. I know what he's talking about.
Right.
I've always said you can't catch another man's fish.
It's hard.
I can only catch my closest buddies that I spend a lot of time on the water with fish because I know what they're talking about. But I can't catch somebody else's fish.
Well, let's talk some bed fishing real quick.
Okay.
Down here, clarity is the biggest issue because you honestly, unless you're happen to find an area that's got extraordinarily clear water, and you're in real shallow, and maybe there's a little grass got stuff filtered out, and it's obvious that's a bed, and it's obvious that's a fish on the bed. You're not going to. How would you approach? If you were going to sight fish here, you'd be trying to push a rope, wouldn't you?
Well, never been down there sight fishing except, like I said, in Florida, but when it comes to the South, I would cover water with moving baits to see what stage those fish are if they're truly in the bed fishing setup, because they will present themselves and then slow down and probably the best thing for bed fishing would be flipping a tube or black and blue jig, depending on that water clarity and stuff. But if I'm truly sight fishing, that's a whole different game.
Are you one of those guys that likes to throw white, like a white crawfish, a white trick worm? Some guys, they want that white bait on there so they can see it. Are you one of those guys, or I know everybody doesn't do that.
I am. I'm a white. I throw a white tube more than anything. Yep.
Okay.
I don't have very much other things that I bed fish with versus a white tube.
Now, do you think that makes a difference on getting the bite or getting the reaction, or is that strictly where you can see that tube disappear when a fish picks it up?
It's strictly for me to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell me about James. Tell me about. There's not but a few good bed fishermen that we have around here that I know of, and they talk about the personality of the fish while he's on the bed. I've had some guys say, within 2 casts, I can tell you whether I can catch that fish or not.
Mm-hmm.
What are they looking at?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a decent bed fisherman. I got taught by one of the best bed fishermen here in the Ozarks, Robbie Dodson, and he used to fish the tour, and he schooled me quite a few years ago on how to bed fish and how to read fish, and I spent days in the boat with him, and we were reading fish, and you can. I feel like I can also make a couple of pitches into a bed or sit on that fish for 2 or 3 minutes and tell you whether he's going to be caught or not. And I can also feel like I can accurately determine how long it's going to take me to catch him after I've viewed him for 2 or 3 minutes. Like, this one's going to take an hour.
Mm-hmm. If you pull into there and the buck and the big female are there together, will you keep that buck off the bed, or will you return it in order to try to catch her?
I don't run. I have not put myself in that position very much here in the Ozarks. You get them turning and messing with each other, and they're nearly impossible to catch.
Oh, so when they're both there, it's just it's almost a no-go.
And I'm talking about clear, crystal clear water like we have here sometimes. We haven't for the last 3 years. You know, I will generally go ahead and catch that buck and see if that female stays around or not.
Well, does the buck always seem to bite first?
Most of the time, he's the most aggressive one. Many times you'll flip your bait in there, and a third fish from out of nowhere will come along and smoke it.
Really?
And it's the craziest, frustrating thing to do. That's when they're really all up there getting after it.
That's that little skinny guy that's sitting on the background waiting for that big guy to disappear where he can run in and get the girl.
You go smoke a cigarette. I'll take care of this.
Exactly. I got this. You know, you don't pay your tab or nothing.
Yeah. Hey, James, would you sit tight with us just because we got our antennas up, man. We are learning right now. Do you mind spending a few more minutes with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
FLW Pro James Watson, we're going to do a little more bed fishing with him and some springtime stuff. We want to find out, you know, as far as he's concerned, you know, is the spring already over maybe in our part of the world, or have we still got another
Not
good
his,
summer?
it isn't, I can tell you.
I guarantee it hadn't happened there. We're hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
My muffler's loud, dual thrush tubes, but crank the music and the tone gets real good. Let me know when we're getting close.
Hooking up and tracking down 11:30 The Tiger, and we are so blessed to have one of the greatest producers in the whole wide world. Even though he shaved his beard and he's wearing that urban camouflage.
You
today.
like it? I get you one in your size if you want it.
It looks like like Eccles said. What did you say? It looked like a cross between
Desert Storm and Superior Grill.
I like Superior.
It's got a margarita stain on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I noticed.
That's
right
no
there.
margarita.
Jay has more looks. He'll
Yeah.
grow a beard for a while. He'll
Yeah.
cut, trim it. He'll have a mustache 1 week.
Now, if
he
you
can change, it's like
if
he's
you've
wanted.
never met Jay, Jay can be completely beardless today, and by Friday,
Yeah, he's got
a Grizzly Adams going.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming.
It's Wednesday. He's got that kind of.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's exactly. It's his Wednesday look. Yeah.
Wow.
His
Wow.
ability to put lipstick on a pig does not go unnoticed in making sure this show looks and sounds great. This segment brought to you by Daiwa Rods and Reels, Bayou Outdoor Supercenter, Groove Fishing, Seagar Fishing Line, and Rayburn Country Resort, an East Texas community and golf destination on Lake Sam Rayburn. Come for the weekend, stay for a lifetime. Book your next getaway at RayburnCountryResort.com.
And real quick, Bash Cash Bash is going on. Did I say that right?
You
Bash
did.
Cash Bash.
You
I
were
did say it
close.
right. Too much cash splash
Bash
going
Cash.
on around here.
Bash
But
Cash.
anyway, January 1st through April 30th has been the Sam Rayburn event. You still got basically a month left on Rayburn. And Toledo Bend is coming up May 1st through Labor Day. And, of course, going on right now, March 1st through June 30th is Lake Fork. $100,000 up for grab. $400,000 be up for grabs on Toledo Bend for only a $50 entry fee at both of those lakes. You can sign up for both of them at one time. And so, as a matter of fact, I'm fixing to enter Toledo Bend today when I go home because I'm going over there this week.
On the phone with us, FLW Pro James Watson. We've been talking some spring fishing, but James, I want to change directions for just a minute. It's our K2 Coolers question of the day. What are some of the things that aggravate you with professional fishing today?
Okay, because you asked me to have this prepared. It has to do with social media.
Yes.
Dude, could this world be
Okay.
a better place without Facebook or what?
Preach on, James.
I don't know, but it is mandatory. It is a mandatory issue to have social media if you're a professional angler.
Yeah.
It's mandatory. What bothers me about not that I have to do it, because you do. What bothers me is when I do it, I get a bombardment of simply, did you not just look at this post or watch this video? Because every freaking thing you asked me
Was right there.
Explained. I get so sick of it. It's just like, I literally want, and I got too much old drill sergeant in me, I literally want to jump through my computer and gouge somebody's eyes out.
Snatch a knot in their butt.
Well, the killer part is James could write on there, James Watson shows you how to catch a big bass with a 12-inch worm. The first question on there, the first comment will be, how long of a worm was that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What'd you catch that fish on? Yeah. Okay. Now, the flip side is at least they're asking. You know
Sure.
what I'm saying? Because it does provide us a platform. But it's aggravating because I'll go and I'll do a live or I'll do a video or I'll do a post, and then I'll attach all sorts of things to tell you more about it, and yet there will be a plethora of questions about what I've already posted. And I'm like, and then you got to be the bad guy because I cannot, there's not enough time in the day for me to respond to everybody that asks me questions throughout the day on my Facebook.
Sure.
Do you ever post watch the damn video?
That's what I want to say, but I don't want to, how sensitive people are. I'm not that sensitive type of a person.
Exactly.
If I think you're an idiot, most of the time I'll call you an idiot.
Let her rip, Tater Chip.
Yeah. So, so that's aggravating in the sport. The other thing is changeover management to from sponsors aspects. Like if you have somebody that you're dealing with or somebody that you broker your deals with, almost nearly all of my sponsors are contracted. Very few of my sponsors are a handshake,
Mm-hmm.
but most of them are on paper. But even some that are on paper, it's kind of difficult to have the demands. I got a lot of demands. I have sponsors that are demanding, which is fine because they pay me for it.
Sure.
But
as long as you understand going in what's going to be expected.
Exactly. And, I get asked all the time, what do I do to get sponsors? What do I need to do? Well, you need to hold some trophies over your head.
Amen.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay? And if you can't hold them over your head, you need to get real close to holding them over your head multiple times. You need to build a good reputation that somebody can get in front of a few hundred, maybe even 1,000 people at a time and speak. And no matter how hillbilly I might sound, I am articulate enough to give an 8-hour block of instruction on how to disassemble, clean, and reassemble steel craft ink pen. Now, if you can do that for 8 hours, I'll applaud you. The Army taught me all these things. But, the frustrating part is the juggling of paychecks. I tell people this all the time. I cannot rely, my income and my livelihood cannot rely on just catching a bass and cashing paychecks like Brian Thrift. Okay? I mean, that guy can simply live off what he wins when he walks across the stage. I can't. I don't catch enough bass to do that. I have to do other things, shows, seminars, videos, go talk to high schoolers, do all sorts of crazy stuff that only I can really get away with in the sport to make a living. But it's hard when you lose a sponsor or a sponsor doesn't tell you that they're moving or tell you that they're not happy with their deal that they've made you, and then all of a sudden money that you're budgeting and counting on to pay $43,000 worth of entry fees is gone.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to hustle to go find somebody else to pimp yourself out to.
FLW Pro James Watson on the phone with us. And James, you bring up a really interesting point because this is a business. Yes, it is what you love to do, but it's still a business. At the end of the day, you've got to make a living. You've got a family that you've got to take care of. You've got obligations. You know what? A thought occurs to me. When you walk in to buy a new truck, how do you tell them how much you're going to, how do you, when they say your annual income, how do you know?
You don't. All you can base it on is the contracts that you have with sponsors.
Because you don't have any guarantee that you'll win any prize money.
No, there is no guarantee. Not from James Watson. You got to know who you're talking to. So, hell no. I don't have a clue how much I might make in the year. But I can guarantee you I can get you within $10,000 what I'm going to spend. So,
what about
it's hard? It's hard to quantify too to sponsors. You're talking about that. Your sponsors want you to be able to quantify sales.
Yeah.
And as a professional angler, I can't quantify sales.
No.
I can't tell any particular sponsor that, I can guarantee you an extra $10,000 in sales this year. So please write me a check for $6,000.
Yeah.
You just can't do it.
Well, they got bean counters there that, that's all Wall Street fed, and, they want to know what their ROI is. What's our return on this investment? We're going to give you the $6,000, and you know what? I can tell you what you won't get without that $6,000 investment, but I can't tell you what you will get. And that's the easiest for me, because for that $6,000, you're going to get James Watson, and you're going to get me preaching you and my other sponsors everywhere that I go. And on average, I meet this many people during the course of the year, and I talk on this many different radio programs, and I'm on camera this many different times. You won't get that without investing in me.
That's right. And I'm fortunate. I've got quite a few sponsors. They're all great sponsors. They all treat me well. But, even my aggravation in this business was I had a flashlight company that I had pitched everything to. We talked about doing this and talked about doing that. They were all on board. They sent me a contract. I signed it, sent it back. They did nothing that they said they were going to do. Not one thing. And then after 3 months of sending me them big fat paychecks, they quit coming.
Wow.
They quit talking to me. They quit doing this. They quit doing that. And I'm like, what is going on here, everybody? You've got me tied up. You're on the side of my truck. You're on the side of my boat. You're on my jersey. You're getting all this. I'm promoting you. I'm giving away your product. I'm having contests with your product. I'm making people go buy your product. What's going on? No communication. That's the most frustrating part. And I'm not a rare item here. I can promise you this happens to every professional from Skeet Reese to myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That this happens to. And it's frustrating because they don't take us seriously. I got guys up here at the Harder House across the Kimberly City Bridge. They were off to get as good a deal on their Mercury motor as me. And you know what the response I get every year is? Well, we really need people that get television time and articles in magazines and all these things. Those are the guys that get the better deal, James. Well, how can I possibly name somebody else that can possibly give you more television time than I have the last few years without owning my own television show? Again, trying to quantify everything that everybody wants. Then you go out, you succeed, and you get. I was fortunate enough. FLW gave me the front page of a magazine. Bass Angler out west, Bass Angler BAM magazine, give me a front page of the cover. I mean, those things are priceless, and the sponsors don't appreciate that. I don't know what they will. I mean, that's what they're paying. That's what they're paying you for. They're paying you to be on Major League Fishing. They're paying for that exposure. Some of them say, "Hey, I got my logo on there on Major League Fishing." I know, but you got me, which drives people to you. So that this is all a big business. I'm thankful that I had the business, that the business experience I had as owning a real estate brokerage and a lawn maintenance business, and the time I spent being a non-commissioned officer in the Army, being in charge of people. Those give me all the edge in the bass fishing world, with the exception of catching bass. Whole different monster.
FLW Pro James Watson, if you thought you wanted to be a bass fisherman, you better be good in business. Wouldn't you say that?
You better be 70% business, 30% fishing.
Amen. Amen. Hey, brother, thank you. We appreciate all the time that you've given us, and we're looking forward to you holding another one of them big old trophies over your head.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. Go to James Watson, Professional Angler on Facebook. Follow me.
And don't ask stupid questions when you're on there.
Watch the video.
That's right. Yeah, I just might slap you.
Hey, we're hooking up and tracking down, and we're going turkey hunting with Hunter Mulligan here in just a minute. 11:30, the Tiger.
Hey, just in case you missed a portion of today's show, set your alarm for Saturday morning, 6 a.m. Tune in to 11:30 The Tiger for more hooking up and tracking down. This segment presented by Bob Seeley Big Bass Splash Series, Wildwood Resort at Toledo Bend, Natchitoches Ford, and Bass Cash Bash. Don't be that guy who forgot to register and cash in on a great tournament circuit. Go to basscashbash.com to register today. Now back to the men who will never be that guy, Gary, Steve, and Mike.
Gary McCoy here along with the old Ranger Iowa pro staffer. He is Steve Graff, and the one and only Mike Eccles, looking dapper today in his LSU purple Under Armour shirt there.
Northwestern State purple.
My Under Armour All, or whatever it is.
Armor All.
Armor All.
Hunter Mulliken on the phone with us right now, our hooking up and tracking down field reporter, Hunter Mulliken. Hunter, I don't know if your ears were burning, but I was talking about you last week.
Uh-oh. You were?
I spent the whole week. I spent the whole week there in mine and yours old stomping grounds.
Oh, did you?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. I was, and I got some bad news.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Oh, man.
It looks like Tucker's camp is going to be no more.
Well, it's been for sale for a while.
It has been for sale, and supposedly a guy named Jesse somebody from the Keithville area has bought it, and from what we were told, it looks like he's going to close the boat ramp there, and he's going to build a big house there. So you won't be able to launch it. And that means that anybody that's fishing in that area, because, they're in Buzzard Bay, where Fred Miller used to have his launch in the back, that's been closed for years. Well, Cricket's is out there close to the point now. Well, that's for sale.
Right.
And who knows what the intentions are for there. So let's just assume that Cricket's closed, Tucker's is gone. If you're going to fish that side of the lake, you got to drive all the way up to Johnson's or launch there.
River,
yeah.
You had to put in Johnson Ranch to come through the canal there.
Yeah.
Back over there, sure would.
Well, I was talking about you, and I want to find out if this is true.
Okay.
I heard all those old barrels nailed up in the cypress trees was Hunter Mulliken's daddy nailed those barrels up there so that you and somebody else could get out there and
Brother Rocky.
You and Rocky could climb in those barrels, and he'd drop y'all off there before daylight, and you'd duck hunt all day, and then he'd come back and get you about lunch. Now, that's what I heard. Any truth to that?
Correct.
Okay,
That's
now
correct.
here's our question. How the hell did you get out of there to go get your duck?
Well, just make sure we kill him, didn't have to chase him. We
Okay.
just got him when he got back.
We were wondering, if you had a real strong south wind blowing through there, that duck could be out, from some of those barrels out there in the death hole. It could be out in the middle of the lake.
Yeah,
So I'm telling you. Actually, Daddy would put us out there, and he would go to another blind. He'd hear us shoot. He'd come check us every once in a while.
Okay.
And wouldn't just leave us up there. But, yeah, it was a fun time, man.
Now,
the death hole blind is still somewhat there. That was my grandfather.
Well, there's two barrels nailed up there side by side.
Mm-hmm.
And now, one thing they've got these little slits cut in them and like a little flap that opens up. What was that? Was that so you could pee out of it?
So you could sit out.
Oh, so your knees could stick through.
Yeah, that's right. So
Okay.
get a little rest.
I don't know anybody that I trust enough to take me out in the
Then
middle of the
drop me off in a
lake, knock
barrel.
me off, and not maybe come back in about 3 days. Or something like that.
Hey, we killed a lot of ducks back in those days, in the fun days when there were a lot of ducks there. So it was worth it. I didn't know any better, Mike.
Boy, I'll tell you what, and that was back when all we had was a pair of those little Hanes cotton underwear.
Yeah.
Don't you
That's
know
right.
Hunter Mulliken and his brother freezing their butt off in those
You're
stupid
right.
barrels?
You're
Well,
right.
you're going to freeze your butt off if you're going to start turkey hunting this spring, it looks like. Hunter, is this weather going to kind of set back turkey hunting?
I don't think it will. I mean, this turkey's been gobbling, since the last week of February, and they really gobbled good Saturday morning. That was youth opening day, and I wish I could have been out there this morning hunting. Unfortunately, I was cruising timber this morning, but I'm not hunting, just listening. But I was just, I'd love to have been out there this morning just to listen. I wanted to go listen this morning before I got on, but I didn't get to go. But they've been getting it here lately. And they opened the season this year. Normally it opens around March 20th, and it opens 7th. That's 2 weeks later. So it's going to challenge you this year because the gobblers are going to probably be with the hens. If you can't call the hen in or you ain't got a lot of faces, it's going to be hard to kill one.
Well, you know what? That's our United Rentals trivia question of the day today. Why did Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries move the opening of turkey season into April? Any guesses on that?
I did. I've talked to some people, and I'm not in the powers that be, but some people that I know that, in Coxsackie down there that have something to do with, turkey counts and stuff like that. And I think the counts were kind of down this year. and I think they'll be a little bit later for that reason. Make it a little bit harder to kill them. You know, so that's my take on it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but you know, opening it April 7th, pretty late.
What's your approach? What's your approach if you're trying? You can't call him away from her,
right?
So how do you call? How do you call a hen?
Well, you just sound like a hen. A lot of times, you know, there's dominant hens too. Some hens are big dominant, and they'll come check it out, just see what's going on. And really, my approach this year is just going to be patient. I mean, you got to be patient anyway, but patience kills more turkey than any call. So if a turkey answers you, he knows where you're at. You just got to be patient enough to sit there and wait on it. So I mean, if you can call a hen, if you're good enough to call some hens in, they follow the hen in. They may not ever gobble, but you follow that hen will come right to you, and he'll be right behind her. So that's how you got to do it.
I talked to a local hunter up here a couple of weeks ago, Clay Johns, and he was telling me that it's really important to try to get out there the day before and find out where they're flying up to. Is that something?
Well, yeah. Try to find where they're roosting. It helps. You know, a lot of times they'll fly down and you think they're going a certain way. You know, a gobbler has a strut zone like a buck has a straight line, and they'll fly down. And of course, if it's hens, they're going to go to the hens. But no hens with them, they're going to just go follow their. Pretty much they're pretty predictable in a lot of, unless something stirs them, you know. They're pretty much going to go east, west, north, or south, and you just got to get in front of it. So,
okay,
Hunter. It don't always happen that way, though.
When does a gobbler do all turkeys fly up and roost in trees, hens and gobblers?
Yeah.
Okay. Do they use the same tree each night, or do they just fly up wherever they're tired at dark?
I think they like to use the same tree, and that's disturbs them. But I think like you said, Mike. A lot of times they may be feeding on the lower end of their range, and they're going to have some places down there too. They can roost on a creek or up in a big pine or over water or something. I think they're going to have several places they roost because obviously they're not in the same place every day. But some turkeys do roost, especially when I found in a cypress break, they're going to roost in the break because it's big and it's low water and they're safer over water. But sometimes when you're in the hills and creeks and stuff, they work they roost in different places.
Well, when Mike kills them, they're always they've roosted right above that big corn pile.
There you go.
And he's just
it's not as hard as y'all make it out to be.
Yeah. But hey, speaking of that, you better be sure that you're going Saturday, and if you hadn't been already, be sure your deer feeders and stuff ain't got corn in them because you can get a ticket if you're too close. I think it's like 300 feet or something.
That's what I was going to ask you. What's too close?
300. I think it's a minimum of 300 feet, about 100 yards. So, just be sure that your feeders are clear of corn, and you're not hunting over corn because you'll get a ticket.
Hunter, how much do the hogs affect turkeys? Do they run them out, or
Yeah, I think turkeys. Turkeys. I've tried to plant choufle before for turkeys. That's a legume, and I think hogs will really wear that out. I don't think they. Turkeys are. If a bunch of hogs came through there when you're trying to get one in, and they make a lot of racket. Sure, it's gonna offset them a little bit because they're really sensitive to anything like a coyote or something unusual sound. They'll get them all messed up because they can hear really well, they can see really well. So I think if you had a bunch of hogs come, I've had that happen before, Grab. I had about 20 hogs come through one day working a big bird, and the turkey just shut up once they went through because they made all kind of racket. That's an effect.
What about the weather? This Saturday they're saying that we're probably going to see some rain Saturday morning. What will that do to the turkey hunter?
Those turkeys don't gobble every morning. And I think just like fishing or anything else, barometer affects what they do. If it's raining, I've heard them gobbling. I've heard them gobbling in a thunderstorm. Every time it thunders, they gobble. And then perfect morning like this morning, I go out there and not hear a thing. But I think it's just a matter of the barometric pressure like it affects fish. I think that's what it does. And if nobody's bugging them and they haven't been after them, they're gonna gobble and make racket.
Well, obviously,
sometimes they don't.
For a deer, that corn pile is the filet mignon, if you will, for a deer's eating. What's a turkey's pecking order as far as the forage? What if you had your choice of different places to hunt? For a turkey to come feed, what would be number one on the Hunter Mulligan list?
I'd get a right away with the food plot in it, and I'd laid out for deer because they're going to come out there looking for bugs and grubs and stuff like that. They know, and the bugs are going to be in the grass, and your food plots ought to be, if you got some planted, some of that wheat stuff or whatever you got, they're going to be out there in the open where they're getting their bugs and stuff, and they scratch around for, obviously the acres are gone, but I mean they'll scratch around for stuff around logs and stuff. But if I had to hunt a place, I'd hunt a right of way or a food plot or pasture. Even here, you had a place. So they like to fly in the light where they can see.
Hunter, with deer season and you're allowed 6 deer a year here in Louisiana. Of course, that's a lot of deer.
Mm-hmm.
How are we doing on the management side of managing turkeys? Are we getting better at it, or what?
Yeah, I think you are. I mean, obviously the reason that the counts, I don't know what the reason the counts are down on this year, but yeah, people control burning and food plots and creating space farm and everything. And I think that's helped turkey hunting. And then I think people, for the most part are going to abide by the laws, not to shoot turkeys during deer season. I mean, I don't know if anybody's done that. I'm sure people do, but I hope they don't. But I think turkey hunting, especially in Nagus Parish. In this area, it's really become big, especially south end of the parish. That's where most of the birds are around Cassachi.
Yeah.
Yep. And Wynn Parish, same way.
Yeah.
Hey, I just got a text from my son Michael, who's a avid turkey hunter, and he said you cannot hunt within 200 yards of a working feeder.
Okay.
And if
I didn't know.
if the feeder was running before turkey season open, it has to be shut down 2 weeks prior to opening day.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. Don't want to get a ticket.
Yeah, I don't want to get a ticket. I didn't know exactly what it was.
Yeah.
That's why I said don't quote me on it. But I want to be sure. What happens to you sometimes, Mike, if you're hunting on a lease and you're chasing the turkey and you set up and you don't know there's a feeder 50 yards from you. It's like sometimes you don't know feeders are there, and then of course anything can happen. But get to chasing them, you kind of got to know where your people are too and where everything is, because you don't want to have somebody feed hogs and deer down there and you end up making a big loop and killing the turkey 50 yards from the feeder. That'd be a bad deal, especially if the game board was there. So got to pay attention to all that too.
Yeah, well, I always have my best luck hunting wild turkeys at Thrifty. So
yeah, there you go.
Hey, one last thing, Hunter.
Okay.
For a novice, like last weekend with the youth turkey hunter, would you suggest to a kid? I mean, that first one, like with our deer lease. If a young boy, if his first buck it shows up, it's a spike. We tell him, shoot it. It doesn't matter if it's a spike or 3-point. Would you tell a youngster? It doesn't matter that it's a Jake, and I know that little beard is only 2 inches long. Would you still let him go ahead and take that turkey?
Shoot, yeah. Get them started, man.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's just like I know some grown men that shot Jakes before.
Yeah.
Let them shoot them. I mean, and of course, you don't want to. I wouldn't let I had to kind of watch what I did as far as how many I shot. But kids get them started, they love it. They don't know that there's 12 inches longer too. They just shooting that big turkey.
That's right.
So,
and then have them be part of the whole process.
That's right.
That to me, that's what it's all about. Is
Exactly.
the bragging afterwards.
Oh yeah,
and you got to make it. Before that turkey ever gets home, it weighed 400 pounds. Had teeth.
Yeah, that's right.
That sucker, right. It was a man eater.
Yeah.
It was unreal. I had to shoot him twice with a 30-06.
Yep, that's as big as out there, boy. I'm telling you.
Hunter Mulligan, thank you, brother. You are always a plethora of good information.
I don't know about that, but I always enjoy being on with y'all and enjoy the show. And I hope y'all have a great 2018. And hey, bottle some of this weather up. Remember, I told you, it ain't going to be many more days like this before it gets hot.
Amen. Yeah. If we can save some of this for July and August, I'll be good to go.
It's coming from a man that works in the woods every day.
No doubt.
Sir.
Are you seeing ticks yet?
Yes, sir. I got a big place on my side where I got one off of me last week. So,
and that's something we need to all remember.
Yeah.
Is this kind of this is the kind of year that Lyme disease could get real bad.
Yep.
Exactly. Put your stuff on. Don't leave it. They'll sure get on you.
And don't forget about them snakes are out right now. They're starting.
They're always out.
I have not seen a snake on the lake yet this year.
I saw one on a log the other day.
You get on Facebook. Be careful, the snakes are out.
Well,
they were out yesterday. They were out last month.
I killed a 5-foot rattlesnake 2 weeks ago on a logging job up in a bush. So,
wow.
Remember that. Be careful.
Hunter Mulligan, our hooking up and tracking down field reporter, and thank you again, brother. We're going to wrap things up here in just a minute. It's almost time to go to lunch. Hooking up and tracking down, 11:30. Tiger.
The Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show thanks you for tuning us in today. This segment presented by Nichols Department Stores, Spro Lures, Gabagatsu Hooks, and Toledo Town and Tackle. Bait, tackle, gas, and a great deli with the best burgers on the planet. Truly is the largest tackle box on the bend. One more time, here's Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and Steve Graff.
And for the last 36 years,
Yeah, that's a long time.
Toledo Fiberglass has been keeping you floating in both Toledo Bend and on Sam Rayburn. And wouldn't you say, of any other two bodies of water, wouldn't you say those are probably the hardest on a boat than any other bodies of water in the whole United States?
No.
No?
Red River.
Red River.
Oh, okay.
Without a doubt.
And I guarantee you that Toledo Fiberglass has seen a number of boats from Red River as well.
When Toledo's bad is when the water goes way down.
Yeah.
That's when it gets
Well,
rough.
I don't like it when it's at like 171.
Oh, yeah, that edge of the just above the timber line.
Yeah, I mean, when it's right there, to me, if it's at 165, I'm okay.
Yeah, you can see the
If it's at
channel.
173, I'm okay. But at 171, when it's right below
173, you can run north-south 1 or east-west 1.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Toledo Fiberglass is there. Fiberglass repair and restoration, they are, I would say, top of the pile.
I would say, yeah, and there's people that do it, but I'm telling you, they are, I think, the king dog.
When you have boats come all the way up from Lake Charles, come all the way down from Little Rock,
Arkansas,
everywhere.
Yeah.
They are the home of the Gorilla Hull with a lifetime warranty.
Yep.
Long as you own that boat, it is guaranteed that they'll take care of it.
No, if I sell that boat to you.
Oh, you can sell the warranty
yes, sir.
with it.
That warranty goes with the life of the boat.
Wow.
Yeah.
And according to you, which I don't say that very often, don't they have a tremendous room down for set up with electronics?
Yes. They got Hummingbird electronics. They actually do classes there at the store.
And
Stephen Johnson.
What about with the Minn Kota? They've got do they sell the spot lock there?
The Talon and the spot lock trolling motor? Yes.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. All tracks.
Just west of Toledo Town, right there on Highway 6, just before you get to the Pendleton Bridge. If you want to learn more, just go to ToledoFiberglass.com and just take a look at that Gorilla Hull. I promise you, if you... What?
Yeah, you're right.
You said no.
No, I said you're right.
Oh, I'm right?
Yeah,
or
you're
no,
right.
I'm not right.
No, you are right.
Okay. All right.
I'm sure you're right. You're reading what he wrote.
Yeah, Toledo Fiberglass.
You can't help but be right.
Okay.
Here's your dial with Samurai Braid best times to fish. This weekend is rated as fair as we go off of a full moon. The fishing should still be good as more fish continue to move in. Temperatures will be great on Fridays at 76 and for the low of 47. Wow, it's going to get cool the next couple of months.
Yeah, it is.
I guarantee you. But Saturday brings an 80% chance of rain and cooler temperatures with a high of 57 and a low of 46. Sunday, little to no rainfall expected, and temperatures get back to the normal with a high 72 and a low of 64. The moon will decrease from 70 to 50% by Sunday. Best times late evening. Friday, 4:53 to 7:53 p.m. with sunrise 6:54 and sunset 7:35. Saturday, 5:42 to 8:42 p.m. Sunrise is 6:53, sunset 7:35. Sunday, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. with a sunrise at 6:52 and sunset at 7:36. And I'm going to tell you right now, I had never bought the Samurai Braid. I'd never used it. And you brought us a couple of weeks ago a couple of packages, and it is by far, there's a lot of good braids out there.
Yeah, there are.
But
There
this is incredible, and one of the best things is, and you brought it up, is the way it's individuals dyed, the strands are dyed separately.
The line does not change
Does
color.
not
It's an
turn-
8 wrap.
It does not start fading,
Yeah.
and that's worth a bunch.
It is.
Because if anything else, within hours, it's like fishing with white thread.
Yeah.
White
Yeah.
You got to break out the black marker.
decoy line. Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And so many guys I see in boats preparing for the next day, they're taking their black marker and running up and down their line, to change that color. I told them, so if y'all use Samurai Braid, you wouldn't have to do all that.
I have a question for you on that. In muddy water, if you were going to throw a lizard or a worm, what color would you throw?
As far as line,
No, bait.
oh,
If you
I'm
go
throwing black neon.
Okay.
Yep, black.
So
And
why?
why? Because they can see it.
So why would you paint your line black?
Black, exactly. So they can see it.
That's just
You're
a
right.
thought. That's
Yeah.
just something
You're right.
that occurred to me. Because what we got is the green, the real green line.
Right.
And that I can see.
Right.
But I don't understand why you would want to go with a black line for something that, because I know if I was going to throw a lizard in muddy water, it'd be black.
That's right.
Okay.
You got that right.
Just a question.
Yeah. Thought for the day. We need to do a thought for the day maybe, huh?
Yes. We need to real quickly run through. We've got the Despino Tire Bass Tournament that's coming up real soon, April 14th.
$20,000 first place guaranteed. Expect at least 200 boats in this event. And Randy Despino and the Despino Tire Gang do a great job with this event. From 2nd through 30th is all based off 200 boats. I really believe they'll have that with more. And so look for the payout to be really good for this event.
But first place guaranteed $20,000.
First place guaranteed $20,000 no matter how many show up. So you can't beat there. Be some great anglers in this event, some great teams in this event.
And the money they raise over the expenses is going to the Children's Miracle Network, which is a huge deal too.
Great deal. Be at a Sammy Gill Park. So check it out.
Landers Ram Cash Splash tomorrow night out at Cross Lake. You want to be out there? Be out there. If you haven't fished any of them, be out there at least by 4 and get your entry form and fill it out. We start accepting registrations at 4:15.
Any idea what time you'll be getting off the water?
I've got an idea. I think it's going to be stop at. I think it's 8:10.
Okay.
I think it's 8:10. I've got it at the house.
Take us home, Brother Steve.
Here's this week's final word. As anglers, we are always looking or waiting on the best time to chase largemouth bass. We make things too complicated most of the time. Moon phases, specific time of day, wind direction, water clarity. Is it sunny, cloudy? Are they spawning? Is it postponed? And the list goes on and on. But in reality, we should simply back the boat in the water and just go fishing every chance we get. So many times we talk ourselves out of going, only to regret it when we hear just how good the fish bit yesterday. So the next time you're trying to analyze whether or not you should go fishing, don't overthink it. Just go. For Mike Eccles, Gary McCoy, Jay Wiley, yours truly, Steve Graff. Thanks for listening. Tune in next week here on 1130 The Tiger for more Hooking Up and Tracking Down.